Why is it that those who try to do everything right often suffer the most? The kind ones, the loyal ones, the ones who stay silent when wronged, the ones who forgive too quickly, love too deeply, and give without asking anything back. They carry burdens that don't belong to them. They clean the mess others made. And in the end, they're left wondering, why does it feel like life punishes me for being good? Let's be honest. In a world that rewards loudness, dominance, manipulation, the good man walks in with open hands and gets devoured. Not because he's weak, but because he still believes that kindness is protection, that empathy is enough, that love will always be returned in kind. But this world is not built for the unguarded. It is not gentle with the soft. The man who moves through life with a pure heart but no boundaries becomes a magnet for those who take and never give, for those who test limits, for those who know that good often means naive. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're a good man, you will suffer more, not because you deserve to, but because you feel more. You observe more. You observe more. And because deep down you expect others to care the way you do. They don't. You carry the weight of silence in a room full of noise. You hold back your anger. You try to explain yourself with calm, while the world screams over you. And when the betrayal comes, as it always does, you question yourself, not them. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once wrote, "Compassion is the basis of morality," but he also warned that suffering is inseparable from deep compassion. You feel more, so you bleed more. But what if this suffering isn't a punishment? What if it's a form of training? A brutal, unforgiving, necessary training designed not to break you, but to burn away your illusions. To strip you of the naive belief that the world honors kindness without strength. What if suffering is the fire that turns the good man into the wise one? Before we go deeper, answer this. Have you ever felt that being good cost you more than it gave you? And if so, are you ready to transform that pain into presence? Goodness, when exposed to early and without armor, becomes a vulnerability. Think of the child who still lives inside you. The one who believed that being honest was always the right thing. That giving people more chances would one day melt their hearts. That being patient would be seen, appreciated, and eventually reciprocated. That the world had eyes for the quiet sacrifices. But life isn't designed to notice sacrifices made in silence. It rewards assertiveness, not erasure. And that's where the suffering begins. When your goodness turns into a form of self-abandonment. When you say yes, while your heart screams no. When you let someone stay, just because you're afraid of making them feel unwanted. When you swallow your anger to keep the peace. But the war just moves inside you. Here's what no one tells you. Being good without being clear is a slow suicide. Being kind without being discerning is an invitation to be used. Being loving without being wise is like handing your heart to someone who doesn't know what to do with it. The world tests the good, not always because it wants to, but because human nature is wired to explore boundaries. If you don't set them, someone else will, and it won't be in your favor. But here's the paradox. Those who suffer more also see more. You see the cracks in others. You understand pain, not as weakness, but as a signal. You don't just hear words, you feel intentions. And this sensitivity, when it matures, becomes your superpower. But only if you stop expecting others to be like you, because they won't be. You can't teach loyalty to the disloyal. You can't make someone see your value when they need you to stay blind. You can't keep bleeding and call it love. At some point, the good man must become the dangerous man. Not to harm, but to protect. Not to intimidate, but to command space. And not to become like those who wounded him, but to ensure they never get close again. This is the threshold most never cross. They remain soft and lost. But maybe you're different. Maybe the suffering has sharpened your perception. Maybe you've started to realize being good isn't enough. You have to be good and unshakable, compassionate and strategic, loving and unafraid to leave. So let me ask you, what would happen if your goodness no longer came at your own expense? The real reason the good suffer more is simple. They care more. And caring, in a world that thrives on detachment, feels like a curse. It means your thresholds are lower, your wounds deeper, and your silence heavier. It means betrayal hits harder. Not because of what was done, but because of who did it. You gave people maps to your soul, and they used them to exploit you. You exposed your fears to those who promised protection, only to be made a spectacle of. You stayed when others would have left, and you paid for it with years of delayed healing. But here's the truth. Your pain wasn't a sign of failure. It was a symptom of your depth. A shallow heart cannot be broken deeply. A numb soul cannot feel the loss of what never meant anything. Only those who give meaning to life experience the sting of its contradictions. The good suffer more because they try to redeem what's broken. But not everything broken wants to be healed. And some people only love when you don't love yourself. So what now? Do you become cold? Do you shut down and guard your heart with steel? No, that's not strength. That's trauma dressing up as protection. True strength is knowing when to open and when to close. It's the art of sacred discernment, not a total shutdown of the soul. It's walking away not because you're bitter, but because you finally respect your own peace. Remember what Carl Jung once said: the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Why? Because when you truly accept who you are, your goodness, your power, your fire, you stop waiting for others to validate your value. You become your own mirror. And when that happens, the game changes. You no longer suffer because you gave too much, but because you stayed too long in places that couldn't hold you. The suffering ends the moment you choose to protect your light, not just offer it. So let me leave you with this. You were never weak for being good. You were only tired of being good for the wrong people. Now, what would your life look like if you chose to suffer less? Not by becoming someone else, but by protecting who you truly are. Let that question echo inside you.